Before I met my lover, my love partner, I was shown what he looked like, and I was told that he would be the last man in my life. Well, I met him. And when I met him, it was at a party.
Oh my God, don't.
When he walked over to the middle of the room, I saw this huge burst and flash of light on the left side of his head. So then I went into the kitchen, and he came into the kitchen, and we automatically started talking. I knew everything about him. I knew his heart, I knew his soul, I knew his bones, I knew the marrow in his bones. I've never loved anybody like I loved this man.
And welcome back. That is a piece that was taken from an NBC special that was done on Reverend June Gatlin, Visions for Final Prophecies. And it's about a relationship that you had. You call the man who was Gary in that scene your soulmate. What happened?
Well, what they did is they reenacted part of my life from the time that I was 3 up into showing some of the prophecies that I had about international and world affairs, things that were going on in the world. And they also focused on my relationship with Gary, whom I had seen, and the Spirit had shown it to me before we met.
And what was that bright light?
Well, the bright light wound up being the on the left side of his head. It wound up that was where he was shot
and killed.
Yes.
It's caused great pain. This gift, it is a gift, and yet,
yeah.
How has it impacted your personal life?
Well, it has not been the easiest of things to deal with, because it makes other individuals uncomfortable when they find out about it, or when they hear about it, or they read about this is who I am. So they become very frightened and or fearful, or in some ways very accusatory, depending on if they are religious or in what their religious bent is. And so I've been accused of being everything of a child of Satan to, just people warned to watch out for individuals like me.
And yet it is a gift. And you say that many women now have this gift.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is a time, I should let you say it in your own words.
Well, it's not anything that mine just happens to be highly evolved, but we all have it. And people of African heritage really have it, but we're not utilizing it to its fullest potential.
Why do you think African Americans have it more than anyone?
Well, being people of the diaspora and people of first world, and I always say first world because where life originated can never be third, fourth, sixth, or seventh world. It's the first world. So people of the first world were breathed this life force, which is that living breath, and that living breath gives an account of everything. And it also allows us the privilege of knowing that we have no reason to be fearful about anything, and to use this ability, to use this power, to use this breathing spirit to become greatly accomplished and be the best instead of being lesser.
And yet, your book that you've written, Spirit Speaks to Sisters, and it's a beautiful book, you say that we must listen to the Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
What is it that, I've had an opportunity to read the book, what is it, what's the message that you want to bring to African American women, first, as you call them, first world women?
I want our sisters to know that regardless of what our shapes, what our sizes are, what our magnificent skin tones and hues are, that we are very special women. And we have to acknowledge this. We have to become more trusting of one another, have a deeper and greater willingness to communicate with understanding, and to do everything that we can to uplift and upbuild each other so that we can prepare for this great future that's coming.
With so many books being written about spirituality now, was there a need for one that spoke specifically to African American women?
Oh yeah, because we've been reading books and magazines that have portrayals of women of European heritage, and we've read these books and magazines, and we've attempted and have absorbed much of the information without even being conscious that we were not visible. And then we began to write about ourselves, because there are certain things that are indigenous to us, and this thing that is indigenous to us is this divine spirit. And everybody has a spirit, but it is a great source of life for who we are, and we have to use it so that we can move into the new millennium, being great in our strides and everything. And we have to have a book like this.
You write that African American women must begin to listen to the voice inside, the spirit inside, if African Americans as a race are to survive the 21st century.
Oh, yeah.
Describe what, we are so caught up, we're so busy, we live in such a microwave society.
Yeah.
How can
fast food world.
What do you suggest that women of color begin to do that they're not doing now?
We have to become comfortable with being stilled. We have to also become comfortable with having silent fasts. That means to cease a lot of loose rhetoric, a lot of language that is not giving us, not feeding us, not charging our batteries. And we have to be willing to have peace, how it says in the scripture, peace, be still. When we're still, then we have the ability to hear everything that's being spoken to us from our bones, from the very fiber that our beingness is. And this listening will never lead us wrong, regardless. It will lead us into righteousness. And when I say righteousness, I'm not talking about, you got to be a religious person or anything. If it wasn't for the divine spirit, we wouldn't even have individuals who created religions. It's created by human beings. So, for women of African heritage, women of color, and all women of color
and all
come,
women.
Yeah, and they come from us, from the first world woman. So we can all learn from this book. Men are reading my book, and it's written just so that they can hear the divine spirit that's speaking to them, and they become very comfortable with it.
Okay.
A
We're
lot of clarity.
A quick break. We're going to allow people to call in. I challenge you not to call in and talk about the job or the boyfriend, but to call and talk about your spirit. If you have a question that you'd like to put to Reverend June, I invite you to call 1-800-94-BAY-TV. We're not going to take any questions about money, love, or finance. We're going to talk about your spirit. We'll be back right after this message.